This the War Report coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve, Cat, Ryan, Amanda, and Eric. And the voice of NEW, Vince Berry. Hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT? Handing out SmackDowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by Tag Me a Date. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here, no safe space. Now listen in, time to hear from some of the greats. This is my brutality! I eat, sleep, bleed. The demons in your dreams. I eat, sleep, bleed. Look at my eyes, look at life, look at my eyes, listen to a die.
Hey, remember when that girl sang this song at the beginning of WrestleMania?
Rhea's twin?
Yeah, it looked just like her.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the War Report After Dark. So, we have a lot to cover as usual, and around. Usually we do SmackDown and then we do Raw, but I think we need to start with the unfortunate news that Rhea Ripley is being forced to relinquish the title.
Sucks.
I mean, it does suck, but, you know, anytime somebody gets injured, you know, it sucks, obviously. But she is going to be the biggest fucking baby face when she returns, because I have a feeling by the time she returns, Judgment Day is going to be in complete disarray. They're already planting all the seeds for it to go down. Kevin, what's up? So it's who this is going to usher in the Stark era. I don't know. So I don't know. It really sucks because but she got her Mania moment. She got over. She had one of the best entrances of the entire night, even though the guy did look like her.
I mean, that was the point. He did her makeup exactly.
Yeah. But yeah,
and one of the best matches of the weekend for the main card.
For sure. But now here's my question too, because I'm hearing a lot of things. To me, the whole thing with Liv, Rhea was hurt prior, and they wrote her off TV.
Right.
But there's people that are thinking that what Liv did was legit what caused the injury. And I went back and watched the footage. There's no fucking way. She was hurt. This is all story.
That had to be a kid that wrote that they believed that was
the wall
real.
bump thing. Because I saw a report even today that was like, oh, they think the wall bump that Liv throwing Rhea into the wall was what did it, but that there's no heat on her. But here's the thing:
but see, someone else said it was the chair shot that made her go into the wall that caused.
This is why I think I agree with Steve now upon further review, because if it's really a legit injury, like when what's her face hit Becky and would just injure people all the time,
Nia.
Yeah. So she used to just injure people. She got heat for that. So to say, hey, Liv Morgan, who is about as low on the totem pole as you can get for women's wrestlers, accidentally injured Rhea Ripley and there's no heat on her? Nah. If this was legit, Liv Morgan would be like down in NXT applying to be in Chase U while Rhea recovered. You know what I mean? Like this has to be. They're blending the real life, you know, all the stuff that WWE fans say that AEW does that they hate. They're blending real life stuff, shooty, worky stuff into wrestling storylines.
Right.
So yeah, I think it has to be because first of all, can Liv actually how could she injure somebody? She's like 90 pounds.
Well, Brie caused a concussion to Liv at one point. Brie kicked the shit out of Liv Morgan once that gave her a concussion.
Well, yeah, but that's a kick. And also she's, you know, aren't they Hispanic? They typically have strong legs, dancer's legs.
Okay, I'll let you
That
have
would
that
hurt.
one.
That would hurt, getting kicked by a Bella or taking the ass bump from the Bella, like the Umaga ass bump in the turnbuckle.
Yeah. Okay, I'll let you have
I know
that
who
one.
would, who would like to take that ass bump. David Roscoe, what's up, David? Are you in the comments tonight? Let me know.
And just for the record, the Zoe Starr comment came from Dave Abba, so can't blame Justin for that one.
I was wondering who said that when I saw it. I also knew it was
Dave
not
Abbey trying to get under Steve's skin early in the game.
I also knew it wasn't going to get put up.
There he is.
Fucking Dave.
I didn't do it this time. It did not come from my
Fucking Dave.
household.
Yeah,
once.
yes.
No,
When was the
Autumn's at a
last time
soccer
he was
game.
on TV,
Autumn's
by the way?
still at a soccer game, so you should be good for tonight.
I don't even remember seeing Zoe Stark on TV. When was the last time she was on?
She hasn't
week.
been. Hasn't it been great?
Steve has to watch reruns just to see her.
Yeah, I'm running.
He probably
to
has
do
her
that.
all over his DVR.
There's that
Greatest
thing on
I
the,
do not want whatever you guys are smoking. You can keep it.
He just
in
goes
your
into
way.
Peacock and just searches Zoe Stark, and then all the Zoe Stark matches come up. There's a Peacock Best of Zoe Stark playlist.
You all suck.
The Best of Zoe Stark playlist would be like 37 minutes long, and she'd lose every match.
All right. Let's
He's
move
like,
on.
all
to
right,
talk
moving
about
on along.
something
If y'all want to
He
important.
be
doesn't
here
want
next
to even.
week, shut the
He
fuck
doesn't
up.
even want
We're
to.
gonna-
Like, we're trying to riff here a little bit. We're trying to, we're trying
We're
to
gonna
chop it
talk
up, and
about
he's like, no.
SmackDown.
Let's do it.
We can all be put in timeout. I'm evidence of
I
that from
know,
last
right?
week.
Holy shit! No, let's do it.
We have to move on and talk about SmackDown because we've been trying to figure out how things are going to move forward, and we've thrown around some ideas, and some of the things that have been thrown around on this show are coming true. We had Piers Solo calling himself the Tribal Chief,
Yep.
Or
taking out Jimmy Uso, and bringing in Tonga, which was a nice surprise. And Jacob Fatu is around the corner. So, are we going to have some sort of
the third
Civil
Bloodline
War?
Civil War?
Yeah.
Now I have a.
This'll-
Is he calling himself the Tribal Chief, or does he have
that's what it seems
another
like.
Tribal Chief?
That's what I'm
Well, they've
getting
been-
at, Al.
Oh.
Well, they set it up a great way to make you wonder.
Right.
'Cause
Is
that's
it
the
coming
question.
from Roman? Because if it was coming from Roman, Paul Heyman wouldn't have looked as scared and surprised as he
But-
was.
Is it coming from The Rock? Is the Rock saying now that Roman lost? Because here the speculation, there are two things going on. Roman did say many months ago that Solo would be the next tribal chief
Yes.
when Roman's no longer the tribal chief. But I think you're right, Steve. They're definitely making you guess because he just said by orders of the tribal chief. He didn't say I said it. He didn't say Dwayne The Rock Johnson said it. So they kind of are leaving it up in the air whether they're following the.
But you see, Vince, the only reason I would be against thinking it is The Rock because The Rock is the final boss, not the Tribal Chief.
Right, but I think ultimately it's going to be revealed that Solo considers himself the new tribal chief for sure, and it's not The Rock. But I think they're using that as not a deflection, but to keep things interesting, to keep the mystery alive.
It's going to be how they start the face turn for Roman.
Right, because they've already, which is going to be interesting to see what happens with Heyman. But right now they've eliminated. See, The Rock is the real tribal chief. That's what I'm saying. This is why you have to put that teaser out there of is Solo talking about himself? Is Solo talking about The Rock? Because they've eliminated by Solo breaking Paul Heyman's phone. He needs to go back. Now that his iPhone's broken, he has to go back to the old big phone. Right?
Vince, I just want to answer that question to Facebook user.
That's
look,
Kevin.
I'm with you with that, but if we're going to get technical about tribal chiefs, we have to acknowledge the original tribal chief, which is Yokozuna. If you really want to get technical, because he's the first one to let the way being the first WWE champion at that level and carried the company for a
Yeah,
little
but even
bit.
before that, I mean, if we're talking original tribal chiefs, I mean, Peter Maivia, the high chief, he was the first one, and
There
then
you
like
go.
And then
the
you got to go
the
Alpha,
original,
Sika,
right? Afa and Sika,
the head shrinkers. I mean,
Great.
Rikishi's been in the
Yeah.
WWE forever. The Tonga
he never won a
Kid.
world, yeah.
Yeah, he never won a world title though.
So he
No,
would, I
but
would
he
never
was a tag
consider.
team titles and Intercontinental. What
Yeah.
belt has Solo won?
He hasn't won a match
No,
since
that's right.
John
Like,
Cena
what
thing.
I seen something like he was like 0-26 or
0
something.
and 34.
Oh, and
34.
34.
Wow.
Yeah, not great. But I think this is how you build that guy back up. And it also makes sense where you have the best villain is kind of right, but also wrong. So he can call himself the tribal chief and he's going to build up this thing. But you can also go, bro, you're 0 and 34. What are you talking about? But then as he starts to win more, he'll be like, I told you so. So like it's interesting because this bloodline feud, this whole storyline, whatever you want to call it, has been going on for years now. And Roman Reigns is now out of the picture. Like I said, they smashed the phone. We've eliminated Roman as anything involved until he's ready to come back. But it was still the highest rated segment of SmackDown over your new champion Cody Rhodes, featuring Tama Tonga, a guy you've never really seen before, Jimmy Uso, and Solo Sikoa and Paul Heyman. So it's still fresh. Like, it's great that they're able to still continue this in a way that the WCW didn't capitalize on Hogan losing to Sting at Starrcade 97, because this is what should have happened. Nash and Hall should have kicked Hogan out of the NWO, brought in some new main event guy, and then Hogan would feud against that version of the NWO, which is what's going to happen here. Because you're going to, the speculation now, the rumor mill is running wild of when Roman comes back, if he's a babyface, it'll be Roman, Jay, and Sammy against the new bloodline, Jacob, Tama, and Solo. Oh, 100%. Listen, I understand there's a lot of Cody. There's a lot of Cody stands on the show and in the audience. We'll get into it, dude. Cody's cooked, in my opinion. This whole title reign's already cooked 2 weeks in, but we'll talk about that later.
I actually think that based on what we saw on SmackDown and the brutal attack on Little Bro and Big Bro, that and followed up by what happened on Raw, the way that Jay, the way he does masterly, cut a promo, and his voice changed when he said, I told him to come with me. So I really think it's going to be Roman back with the twins against the other side of the bloodline.
Yeah. That would be great. I think now that everybody's aligned as a babyface, Sammy getting one more run with the Usos would be just, it would feel like a Survivor Series match. You put those four guys,
especially with the draft coming up, they could move Jimmy or Jay to the same show.
Ooh, this draft is going to be crazy because what's going to happen with that?
They're definitely going to put the Usos back together. I mean that definitely.
But Jay is so hot, man. It's crazy. Like that Yeet thing is it's like it's taking a mind out on his own. Like if you think about
imagine bloodline versus bloodline if Roman recruits Roman, Jimmy and Jay, Paul Heyman, and Sami Zayn.
That's going to be Uzi.
I can't wait for the Bloodline Hollywood versus Bloodline Wolfpack feud. This is going to be great.
Well, I mean, this is really a version of NWO.
It is.
White
but this
and
is
black versus red and black.
Again, I'm saying they're doing it a different way this time, which seems to. The thing I always had in my head after Starrcade 97 was that Hogan there should have been more tension in the NWO after Hogan lost. And even if you want, like, they could have definitely kicked Hogan out, and then Hogan could have been like, well, you can't kick me out. I'm the NWO. And they'll be like, well, fine, we're the Wolfpack. You're the Hollywood. They could have kickstarted that whole thing early, but it would have been a more of a money feud between those guys. And then in the meantime, you've got the NWO war going on with no titles on the line, maybe the tag titles if the Outsiders have them. And then you have Sting against Bret Hart, who you just fucking brought in. I'm sorry. I'm still mad about this all these years later. How badly WCW fucked up after Starrcade 97. Every night I go to sleep thinking of ways they could have fixed that.
That's funny.
But this is like, it's interesting to me that the story doesn't feel, now with Roman out of it, the story actually feels fresher, and the audience is like clicking with it.
Paul
we're
Levesque,
getting new talent, and we're getting new surprises. They're keeping it fresh and interesting, and you can really turn this into a whole nother year, depending on how many twists and turns you have ready to go. But so far, this whole Triple H era of doing things, I am 100% on board. Everything about it. I do have a question. Speaking of which, how are we feeling? And I mean, it really is just a matter of opinion. But how are we feeling with the new downsizing of the staging to get more fans in? And it looks like this is going to be the norm going forward.
Whatever.
I liked it.
It's fine.
I thought it looked
it
good.
looks
I
a
think it
little
looks
weird.
good. Whatever, the big screen, and then there's more seating or whatever.
Like
It does
half the
look,
screen
yeah,
compared to
but
what it
I
was.
think it's a good idea.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're trying to sell tickets, you fit as many people in as possible. I don't know. I feel like there's a way to do it that incorporates a little bit of everything to keep people like, I don't know, man. I loved, and they haven't really put the care and thought into them in many years, but I love the old Titantrons. When somebody came out and their music hit and you had a little video in the background of them hitting their finisher, like Big Boss Man hitting people with a nightstick in his thing, like it set the tone. If you didn't know, like, let's say you brought a friend to a wrestling match, or a friend was over watching Raw and you saw the Titantron video, you knew what that guy was all about as soon as you saw it. So I loved that touch of it. And scaling down is, I mean, like I said, fits more people, but also, like, I feel like maybe there's got to be some way to integrate, the old school Titantrons to give them more personality. Like, I just feel like there's a lot of the production, while it's very shiny and slick, is all kind of it's so streamlined that it all just feels like the same. It all just feels very samey to me. So
yeah, but you know what? But they are doing things that, from a production standpoint, are
the camera work is all different now.
The camera work is phenomenal. Like, if we want to kind of shift over to Raw, I mean,
You're gonna say the spot. Yep, I know exactly where you're going.
When it comes to main event, I mean, listen, you knew Sammy was going to get the ovation he was going to get because they were where they were. But the way they did the entrance, which was so different, because you could say, well, the Shield used to come through the crowd and this and that, but they came through the same entrance, straight down. Each time it was a wide angle shot, usually from the ring, and then there would be a guy and it would just be zooming in. But this, I love the whole idea of Jimmy walking up and out, Sammy staring into space, Jay just stopping me like, what are you looking at? And then he tells the story about 25 years ago. This is where he had his first match. And then he comes in and he's getting everyone in the hallway all pumped, throwing garbage cans and, and he's like, camera guy, follow me. And he's talking to the camera and then walking through the crowd and all the way down and then stops and he's looking and all these great camera angles. And then he decides to go back up through the crowd and the other way into the back of everything about it was just fucking awesome. And then the match was great. And we'll get into that because obviously there was a lot that went down with that. We have somebody over at YouTube, Corey. You know what happened yesterday on SmackDown to Jimmy Uso? Last was not cold. Who knows what Jimmy Uso condition?
Oh, I mean, he was...
what I am hearing is that Jimmy's going to be off TV for quite some time, but I didn't hear the extent of the injury. But he's going to be off TV for a while.
Man, this post WrestleMania is like the walking wounded at this point. Holy shit!
And it's horrible to say, but it's better Jimmy than Jay. It's horrible to say because I love them both. And Jimmy to me is funny as hell, but all right.
We're all looking at the same comment in the chat window, right? We're all...
I don't. So for David Roscoe, who forgets we're a wrestling podcast, OJ Simpson died last Thursday, if anyone forgot. And he also wants us all to know that Chad Gable is turned heel.
We'll see that
which
one's.
he did, and we'll get to that when we get to the main event.
So
But,
he's batting 500 today. One wrestling, one not wrestling. It's all
right.
And yes. OJ.
Yeah.
OJ died. The only wrestling adjacent thing is that he was supposed to be Roddy Piper's opponent when he wrestled Goldust at WrestleMania, and real life Roddy Piper, who is just as much of a badass as you think he is in real life. He was a sweet guy, but also would like snap your neck. He said the only way I would wrestle OJ is if I was allowed to beat the shit out of him for real. And they're like, you can just wrestle Goldust and have a wrestling match. You can't actually beat the guy up. So just know
It wasn't even a wrestling match. It was a Hollywood backdrop fight.
And they did the OJ chase with the Bronco car. Yeah. So the whole thing was that was meant to be OJ's spot, and it didn't happen. So R.I.P. OJ.
David Roscoe also thinks LA Knight will beat AJ Styles Friday night on SmackDown. I disagree.
Yeah,
LA Knight went over at Mania. AJ Styles is going over, so you have Cody's first match against a heel and not doing a face-on-face, because it's going to be a problem if not everybody is behind Cody, and it's going to be split between Cody and LA, whereas with AJ Styles, everyone's going to boo AJ.
Who's really behind Cody at this point, though, other than the crybabies? He's just so boring.
Apparently, there's a lot more of them than anyone else. It's the reality.
There's a lot. There's a lot of them out there.
2 weeks of the
Proud
same
Cody
promo.
crybaby right here.
2 weeks of the same promo and no wrestling matches. This is supposed to be a new world champion. Could he at least have had like one? Give me something. Give me a title defense on a show.
Why not? Damien hasn't had one either. Name somebody else besides Sami Zayn that had a title defense since Mania.
Sami Zayn. You're right. We got one champ vacated. No, I know. That's what I'm saying. You're right. I don't.
So don't just throw that all on Cody.
Oh, I'm not throwing it all on Cody. This is a wide thing. I mean, you have. I would just like one of them to be a fighting champion. We just had a guy who defended the title 11 times in a year. Like, let's go.
Is it me, or is it WWE turning Chad Gable into the new Kurt Angle with this new heel turn on Sami Zayn yesterday? I think they've been turning Chad Gable into Kurt Angle for quite a long time already. This is not anything new.
But do you know?
And
the latest
turn was coming from when he started doing the Rocky vignettes with him.
100%.
We all knew that was coming.
But did you see the latest update? This is from the social media world. Chad Gable posted on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, ready, willing, and ...
Gable.
And he didn't say Gable at all. But you know who retweeted it with a little home? I'm thinking Julius Creed. So I think this comment about Chad Gable and the new Kurt Angle could mean that the new Alpha Academy will be Chad Gable and the Creed brothers.
Interesting.
I could definitely get behind that.
And they're legit, right? They're like legit. They were legit collegiate guys. So that they can all fit that same kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So now somebody on Facebook said stupid, and I assume they mean with the whole Chad Gable turning into Kurt Angle. And my question to that is, why would that be stupid? I don't understand why that would be stupid. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If anything, it makes perfect sense. They are the same person.
As long as they don't try and like just do it beat for beat. Like, he shouldn't go out there and spray people with milk and shit like that. He should be his own guy, but still be that kind of. He's goofy when he's not wrestling, and then when he's wrestling, he flips the switch and he's like the guy that can kill you. Because that was Kurt's greatest strength. He was able to make fun of himself. He put on the little cowboy hat and did all that shit and rode a scooter with a helmet, and like he was able to do that. But then once the bell rang, he was a different dude. He was a killer. So that was if Chad Gable's able to walk that line.
The same way. He's been able to be a comedian, and then he gets in the ring and he has banger matches. Every match he's in is a home run.
Tara that commented that it was stupid.
Tara doesn't like
I don't see how that's stupid. Another comment on Facebook. Did the whole R-Truth thing jump the shark last night? So Awesome Truth was invited out, and they were presented with new titles. I thought the titles were absolutely gorgeous. I'm a big fan of them. I think they're much better looking than what they had.
I agree.
I am not complaining at all. But I will say the whole jump the shark. I thought R-Truth was hysterical last night as usual, but I don't think a lot of it got over the way they wanted it to.
Triple H walking out was so funny.
Triple H was Triple H is always. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I
Can
think.
I go now? Can I go?
Oh
guys?
yes.
Go.
No, not me, man. That's what R-Truth said last night.
Oh yeah. I thought you wanted to like rant on this. I was like, please, Al. Let's go.
No.
But my one thing that they have to be careful of with this is the same thing that they fucked up with Fandango. As soon as the corporate guys revealed that they were in on the joke, it stopped being funny. When Jerry Lawler was in the ring, like, haha, I love titties and I love Fandango, and like it ruined the whole thing because it was like, hey, we know corporate's in on the joke. The guy, like, it just needs to be R-Truth just doing his weird thing and not having to be having involvement with like Triple H and all those. It should just like, I don't know. It felt too much.
But to
like,
me,
yeah.
constantly thinking Triple H is Tommaso Ciampa and then vice versa is fucking hilarious.
Oh, I thought that was hilarious.
That was brilliant.
Because
Yep.
even when Ciampa came down with DIY, you see him mouthing the Miz. See, look, there's Triple H. Like, you know, like,
They were also dressed up like DX that night. Yeah.
Triple H ain't.
It would I don't know if it's funnier that Tommaso's like a foot shorter than Triple H, but there's something about it because they do look very similar, but Tommaso's just a little bit more compact.
A lot more compact.
Oh yes. The newest signings, the newest two wrestlers that suck and can't cut a promo and they can't wrestle because they didn't sign with WWE. The Motor City Machine Guns, Sabre and Shelley coming to AEW, likely feuding with the Young Bucks after Dynasty because there's a ladder match between FTR and the Young Bucks for the tag
They
team
are
titles.
such a phenomenal tag team, those two.
Yeah.
I can't wait. They're my when I started watching TNA back in my college days, when it was still on like Fox Sports Net, those two guys, that tag team, and not just as a tag team, individually as X Division wrestlers.
And now
Phenomenal,
they're
man.
world champion.
Yeah, and they've both been world champion. They've both been X Division champion. I mean, they're solid wrestlers, and whether they're gonna do single stuff or whether they're gonna do tag stuff, it seems like they're gonna do tag stuff. I mean, it's gonna knock it out of the park. If you remember back in the day, it was like what 2009, 2010 ish. Generation Me, who were the Young Bucks, had a best of 7 series with the Motor City Machine Guns for the TNA tag titles. And those matches were crazy. And I know they're all a little bit older and a little bit wiser, and the matches probably won't be as crazy, but I still think whatever they're going to be able to deliver is going to, I can't wait. I just can't wait to see the Young Bucks against the Machine Guns again. The Young Bucks against Machine Guns against FTR, Machine Guns against the Lucha guy, Lucha Brothers. Oh, it's going to be fantastic.
I like how Raw is setting up a lot of things. They're both shows really are setting a lot of wheels in motion,
Right.
which is good. But now here's my other question, right?
Mhm.
And I do apologize, but I'm going to have to jump off early tonight, so I'm going to let you guys finish up. But we have another fucking draft coming.
Mhm.
And I have given up all hope after these years that no matter what, the draft just doesn't mean a fucking thing.
Right.
And
Right.
it hasn't for quite some time because nobody ever sticks to their brand and everyone just shows up wherever they want at any time. Now that we are officially in the Triple H era, does that change? And does the brand split actually start to mean something?
Hopefully.
It will only mean something if they don't find weird ways to justify Raw talent being on SmackDown and vice versa. Like that one week they had Cody and Jay win the tag team titles because they couldn't figure out any other way to get them onto SmackDown. It's like, I don't know.
You know what? I'd like them to do, instead of yearly drafts, bi-yearly, give it a little more time.
Oh, like every 2. Yeah.
2 years.
Quite honestly, if they're not going to treat the draft the way it should be treated, then they don't need to do it at all.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, at this point,
They could.
I've given up all hope. I
What if-
hope I'm wrong, but
The draft really should just be a way to get over new talent and be like, we're having a draft between the Performance Center, NXT, and whatever else they have going on with people in Japan or whatever.
Draft.
Right. And then treat the contracts like if wrestling is a sport, saying it's a sport, treat it like baseball or whatever. And somebody will announce, hey, I just signed with Raw for a year. And then like the next year is like, hey, they're coming up on free agency. Are they staying with Raw? Are they going to SmackDown? Are they going to sign with NXT? Like you could do that way. And then people who are like Roman Reigns could be a free agent for a while and then just float around and be like, where's the tribal chief going to go? Is he going to go back to SmackDown where he had all of his success? Is he going to go to Raw to try and build his new bloodline there? And then finally he makes his decision and, he can either do the Batista signing the contract to show whether he's on Raw or SmackDown, or he could do the old traditional shirt rip where you have the shirt on top and then the brand shirt underneath, and he could rip it off and reveal what brand he's on. Who knows what happened to SmackDown? What happened? I mean, they're getting they're going to have the same design as the Raw belt now, but with blue
color.
accents. Blue accents, yeah.
I want to see SmackDown: Return of the Fist.
That's the one thing. If they scale down all the
that
production,
would be awesome.
Scale all the production down and just bring the SmackDown Fist with you on Friday nights. That takes up the least amount of room.
We know that they still have it in the warehouse.
They absolutely do.
On Hidden Treasures. So
if they had to differentiate Raw and SmackDown, SmackDown should have the oval entrance with the fist over it. Not a big one, but like one of the ovals, just to be familiar as the old SmackDown set with a fist over it. And then the Raw one could just be a very square, instead of rounded or an oval, Raw would be square, and they could have a big square Titantron, not a big one, but like a square Titantron over the top, kind of like they used to have back in the day with just the big Tron, but then scale it down to what they want now.
Right.
Then you differentiate.
Guys, I got to run. Have a good rest of the show.
David.
I will talk to you all later.
Yes, sir, boss man.
Zoe Stark is a legend.
Waited until I signed off, asshole.
No. Perfect timing.
Yeah, I didn't know if he caught you right when you if he caught him as he dropped out of the stream, so he wasn't able to rebut that. Really funny.
I would have signed back in.
That would have been great.
Signed back in. He's like, I'm listening, motherfucker. I heard you.
Oh man.
My goodness. Autumn is currently
Vince,
on
you
a
left
bus.
us alone again.
I know. Autumn's currently on a bus. Great.
Yes. Yeah, she's out of a soccer game.
game. Is she like the tallest?
Yes, so
one?
that ping was Autumn texting Justin, come pick me up.
Is she the tallest one on the team? I feel like she must be one of the taller.
She
ones
had
on
an
the
away
team.
game tonight.
Okay. Do you know if they won
She
or
is.
lost?
Yeah, she had an away game tonight, so lost.
Can we-
8-0. 8 slaughtered. 8-0.
Can we address the Matt Hardy contractual thing?
Sure. I mean, what do you want? What's
Well,
the? I mean,
he's apparently hasn't re-signed with AEW.
no. So he
Doesn't necessarily mean anything, but
But at this point, unless he's helping to put over, Tay and Zay private party, which it seems like they've kind of separated him from that. It seems like the Hardys might have run their course in AEW, and that's fine because
I was going to
I don't
say,
know.
does anybody care anymore?
I don't want. Listen,
Not really.
those guys,
because they put them on fucking the shows that nobody watches.
but they can't wrestle. That's why they put them on those shows. They literally
do
can't
anything
physically
anymore.
wrestle.
Yeah, fair enough.
The stuff that you want to see the Hardy Boys do, they cannot physically do anymore.
And
so
when they
I
do it,
don't-
yeah. When
But-
it looks awkward, and it doesn't work anymore.
and they hurt afterward. They feel really bad. Their bodies.
Right,
Physically, no, but
Sting
they
jumping.
still
Sting
have-
didn't jump off up onto tables every match he did. He would balance it out and everything like that as he was getting up in his old age. The Hardy Boys still think they're 19, 20 fucking years old.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind if, they just did a thing where they were inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that would be great. Get them a Legends deal. They can show up every now and again, give somebody a twist of fate. Fine.
Yeah, like what Bubba did at Mania.
Or, you maybe utilize Matt's, creativity.
Yeah, well, I mean, hopefully he would be appreciated more this time around because his creativity was not appreciated by Vince. So maybe Triple H and Shawn would have a different, experience with that. Who's the Facebook user, Cat? If you can look this up, did Stone Cold really not show up at Mania over money? Son,
That was Dave.
Yeah. He said, they said, here's how much we're going to pay you. He said, what? They said, this is how much we're going to pay you. What?
What was the offer? What were they offering?
I don't know. There was, I don't.
It was a low bowl offer. I don't remember how much it was, but
there was no numbers in any of the articles I read, but apparently it was not high enough to get Austin off the ranch with Pancho the Cat. You have to watch his Instagram. He's wild. Stone Cold loves this fucking cat.
Loves him.
Video. He's like,
hey, listen, he's still got alimony payments to Deborah.
Oh my God! What if he didn't want it? What if he didn't
Mongo's
want
on
to
his
take
way
it?
out, and Deborah's meal ticket is Steve Austin.
That damn Deborah always.
I can't
riding
stand her.
coattails.
Sorry, I can't.
Deborah always got her way.
Deborah's my Zoe Stark, okay?
Understandable. Completely understand. Yeah, what if Stone Cold didn't want to take the offer because he knew that part of it's garnished by Deborah? And he's like, just spitefully turned it down. He's like, no, not fuck Deborah. She's not getting any of that pay. Damn it.
Honestly, Deborah to me looks
I'm doing so
25 years ago.
We just got
He yelled hi Zoe Stark's girlfriend and then ran out.
we got Baba Booey. That
and put it on the short reels and sent for Vince.
oh man. He is the kid. Like this is like when Howard Stern fans go to golf games and yell Baba Booey. He's our Baba Booey. He just runs in and
That's Rudy
bombs us.
Giuliani's kid at his inauguration. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yes. Oh my God, that's a deep cut too. Wild. But we've got this. So we talked about SmackDown a little bit. Yeah, we started talking about Raw. We talked a little bit about Rhea having to vacate this women's title. I mean, it seems no matter what they're doing with it, whether it's a tournament or whatever it is, it feels like they're going to give the title to Liv.
I mean, continuity-wise, it makes sense.
Right. And then when Rhea comes back, she can beat Liv, take the title back.
It depends on how long Rhea is going to be out, too.
I think that's probably also why they're kind of not delaying, but you don't have to make a decision as to who's taking the title right away. You can do a tournament, you can do qualifiers or whatever else to give yourself time to get her diagnosis and then figure out what you want to do. And then, the other champions is right. And you were right, Kat, as the other champions haven't defended, the tag team titles haven't been defended in the last 2 weeks, which, whatever, they had to unveil new titles. Logan Paul's off TV with the U.S. title. He's, he'll show up when he needs to. And, leading up to Cleveland, his hometown, SummerSlam. But IC title got defended. The 2 world titles haven't yet. Have they established anybody as a potential challenger for Damian Priest yet?
I don't think so.
Jey Uso.
Well, they're putting.
Oh, yeah.
Jey Uso won the qualifying match.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it's supposed to be coming up.
Yeah. So that's that. Oh, that's the first defense on Monday Night Raw. Yeah. So that's good. That's a good setup. Unfortunately, Jay's, not winning it. All right. So you want to hear why I think Cody is cooked? Because they're putting him against, again, we're in a situation where we spent 2 years circling this Cody Rhodes thing, and now he's the guy. This is like when the Joker said in The Dark Knight, I'm like a dog chasing a car. Once I get it, I don't know what I'd actually do with it. Mm-hmm. We got the title on Cody, and now he's going to face one of 2 guys that needs a fucking win desperately because AJ Styles lost at Mania. So he'll beat LA Knight and then lose to Cody, and then back down the card he goes. or if LA Knight wins, this is another guy who every time he challenges for a world title can't get the job done. So it would just in the interim of Roman Reigns' long reign, they beat everybody that was a top contender. That was my concern during that reign. If you go back and listen to other shows, I'm like, we've beaten everybody, and now everybody's on a lower tier. And when even AJ Styles has had a great career, if you put AJ Styles up against Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes just, Cody Rhodes and the Avengers just beat fucking Thanos 2 weeks ago. What do you think's going to happen? You know what I mean? He's going to throw the Captain America shield and fucking hit AJ in the face. It's like, it just feels like now that he has the title, it's great. He's a champion, all that. But like AJ Styles, AJ Styles isn't winning. There's not I need a compelling, like Gunther, I think is the eventual setup for the SummerSlam match. But in the interim, I just think it's going to be just kind of blasé challengers. And to me, LA Knight or AJ Styles is a great idea, but they're not going to win. So to me, it's just like,
But anybody you throw at this point is not going to win, right? Because he just got the belt at WrestleMania. So it's a run coming. So it's like, who do you put? A lower guy? And then we're going to be like, yeah, that sucks. We know he's not going to win at the end of the day.
Yeah. But that's kind of the thing, I guess, is at the beginning of a reign. It's a little like, yeah, this guy's not
right
away.
It's very, we know what's going to happen.
Right. But I
predictable.
Also, and not for just my own thing, I do follow this one very special group of wrestling people on Facebook. I'm part of a group where they are very, very much WWE homers. Most of the stuff they talk about is how WWE is great and AEW is bad and all that. So I use them because they're the hardcore WWE fans as my gauge for the response to certain things online. And they're starting to share like there was somebody screenshotted a meme of like that thing we'll hear from Cody Rhodes tonight, and it was the picture of him, and then above it was text like Pyro, whoa, Cody cries, what do you guys want to talk about? You know what I mean? It was just like, oh shit, like there are, so now you get that kind of response. And I didn't see that leading up to WrestleMania. I didn't see that in the winter leading up to the Royal Rumble. Now
you're just happy you found your people.
No, because these guys are, dude. No. These are the homerist of WWE homers. If Seth Rollins went out in a tutu and then gave a stink face to Jey Uso, they'd find a way to say it was great. This is the kind of group it is where they're very positive for WWE. So when I start seeing a couple posts about Cody like that, I'm like, that weird hardcore fan base is starting to. Yeah.
I keep saying this. I think that it went a year longer than it should have.
Yeah, and that was a Vince call.
That I agree with. Yep.
It has to be Randy. Now, here's the thing. I would love Randy as a challenger because that actually gives me a question mark as to who wins that match. Because you could Randy Orton going for his 17th world championship to beat Ric Flair's thing. That's really 26 championships, but we'll leave that alone, or 27. But
wait, Randy doesn't have 16 championships.
Yeah, he does. Him and Cena both have 16.
They both have 16. I thought it was only
they're
Randy.
tied at 16.
They're tied, and they're trying to be the first one to get to 17
I thought
at this
Randy
point.
had like 14 or 15.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He has less. He has 14.
No, Randy Orton
was
tied
16
at
is John
16
Cena.
when he Randy Orton tied at 16 during the pandemic when he beat Drew McIntyre in the ambulance match.
Oh, I think you're right. I think that was his 16th.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Ambulance match.
It was a
That
3-week
sounds
stint
nuts.
during the Thunderdome era where there was I forget which pay-per-view it was because I would not call it a PLE, sorry. And that match was his 16th time.
And I just asked Alexa stop, and she said it was only 16. Or she said it was only 14, rather, not 16. So
there you go. It is 14. I was about to say he doesn't have more. No, it's
I'm gonna
14.
look this up because
Only person with 16 is John Cena. Well,
But
obviously,
they made a cool thing about saying that
see, that's
there
what
was
I thought
that
too.
were tied. Are we having a Mandela effect?
I thought it was Triple H that only had 14.
No, he has 14 because I was just
Yeah,
seeing something that said it
WWE
yesterday.
WWE Championship 10 times, World Heavyweight Championship 4 times, and then a bunch of SmackDown, tag titles and stuff. Dude, I feel like you're right because I feel like they've pumped up that Orton was close to breaking. I thought he was tied with Cena, but
They
point
did
still
say.
stands.
Was gonna say. Well, listen. It took them how many years to realize that the Undertaker was 10-0?
Yes, it did. It took them a very long time, but I think Randy would be a great. Randy's a great challenger because it gives me a question mark in the way that LA Knight and AJ Styles don't. You know what I mean? I just
He
feel like
has that kind of credibility to make
right. He's got a credibility to him. Unfortunately, AJ hasn't. AJ had a lot of credibility in like 2016, and then since then has kind of.
I would love to see, to your point, I would love to see a Randy Orton turn back to heel because I'm a bigger fan of Randy Orton heel than he is face, and have them go at him, because they have history with that whole
legacy thing. Yeah, man.
Their whole faction and legacy and all that.
Absolutely. Another face where you can't Roman use his rematch clause. Now, I could be wrong, but I thought a few years ago. See, that's what I thought a few years ago. They did away with the rematch clause.
Like, didn't Shane, when he was GM, said that like
right? They made an announcement about it, but also, who knows? It is Roman Reigns. He has Paul Heyman as his advocate. He could have definitely had a rematch clause written into his particular contract because he's the tribal chief and he gets paid more and he gets special favors. So very possible. Do I think he goes after Cody right now? No. I think whenever he comes back, he's coming back for the bloodline. And
he got bloodline problems.
For me, the only way this ends for Roman is Roman Rock at next WrestleMania. Roman makes his way through the bloodline and beats the shit out of everybody, working his way up from Fatu to Tama to Solo up to The Rock, and then beats The Rock at WrestleMania.
I almost feel like it's like The Rock doing what he did to the Nation, overthrowing Farouk. He's going to overthrow Roman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, and I think there's also that Solo thing in there. Solo is
they're going to do that and the NWO split. So they're doing two different things, and which is I'm for
sure. And Solo is Solo's the guy in all of this. He's the one. He's the stick that stirs the drink, as they say, or whatever it is, the straw that stirs the drink. He's even when during Roman's championship run.
He was the glue.
He was the one. He was holding it all together. And I think
and when face Roman does come back, Paul Heyman is a big question mark because he can pull off anything.
Right. And Solo could also be another credible. I know he's 0-34 right now, but down the line, Solo is another guy that could be a credible contender to Cody, and he could lose to him. But also for me, there's a question mark because Solo, much like Roman, never comes alone, always has a plan. Solo was the guy organizing and orchestrating all the behind the scenes stuff when Roman was out wrestling. So I feel like Solo, you could build up a lot of mystique or intrigue as to whether or not he could actually pull the trigger and beat Cody.
Let's say,
and I think he could, but not right now. But I think he could.
Next week, Paul Heyman, has a new phone. That because Solo broke the other one, and
he's got to get a case.
And he goes, instead of call Roman Reigns, call Solo Sikoa.
Yeah, he could give him a new phone. He's like, this is the direct phone for me, not for Roman. Because as I said, I think that smashing of the phone was a symbolic writing of Roman Reigns off TV for the foreseeable future. Because now there's no connection.
Remember that time during the main event on night 2 when Solo was like saying to Roman, "Come on, let's go," and he's like, "I know." That was definitely,
I also saw a during the Usos match, one of the Usos looked down at his daughter and told her to stop looking at her phone. Like, buddy, you're on TV. The camera was on you, and you just go, "Stop looking at your phone." Good for him. I mean, let's see. Depends on how long Roman's break is. Yeah, that's true. It was meant for Kevin. Yeah. All right. So I'm in the minority. I want Flair's. Listen, I want a lot of the records to stand because I think that's the point of records, is that they should show the history.
I didn't like Cena tying it to begin with. That's why I like the Jon Stewart heel turn.
Because it's also there is a measurable distance between 16-time world champion in the 70s, 80s, and 90s than there is being in the 2000s and the 2010s and the
Especially
2020s.
when there's more than one world title to go for.
Exactly. More titles, more title changes, more, you had guys holding the title for 7 years in a row back in the 70s and the 80s. They didn't lose.
Look at Charlotte. You could take all of her, however many reigns she has now, what is it, 13, 14, whatever, combined, and it still wouldn't equal up to one of Ric Flair's reigns.
No, because they give Charlotte the title for like 2 days at a time for some reason. And even her long reigns aren't that long.
That's because every time one of her implants pops, what do you want me to,
Jeez. Or she got those friggin' subway tiles installed in her mouth. Holy shit.
Right. But that's what happened twice. That's why she had to drop so quickly twice.
Yeah, she did.
Two freaking implants. I wasn't reading it sarcastically. It was fucking true.
No. I mean, she definitely blew a spare, but she had to go down a size or two. Like so what happened? She actually, I think it's legit. She had to go down 1 or 2 sizes.
Her doctor probably got sick of it and told her, like, look, you have to go down a cup size, all right?
Yes, really.
You can't be in here every 6 months.
Yeah, you can't. No, you can't. Right? With a
that happened to her, also, and it happened to China too.
Yeah, that shit's also not good because I know they've kind of improved the ingredients on the inside of it. But that stuff leaking into your bloodstream is still not good. You got to get it out of there pretty fast.
Charles boobs don't do it for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Dude, a lot of Charlotte doesn't do it for you for a lot of reasons with what your type is.
All right. If you, for a fun experiment, if you ever go back and watch a video of Rick and Charlotte in the ring, there's a lot of footage of Rick and Charlotte in the ring. Take your phone out, go to Snapchat or Instagram and do the face swap feature and just put it up to the fucking video. And you will never look at Charlotte in the same light again because you know why? It's the same face. Even with the faces swapped, it's the same face.
And then, the only ass Ric Flair's up more than his own is his daughter's.
I mean, listen, that's just,
I understand.
If I was her dad, I'd be doing the same thing, bro.
I understand, but come on.
My parents gassed me up when I got a yellow belt in Taekwondo. Imagine if I was a world champion.
I'll tell you what. If not for her sabotaging ways, Tessa, I think, would be better.
Right. Yeah, I
happen to think she's better in the ring than Charlotte, but
don't be surprised with Zilla.
Worst enemy.
Right. Zilla Fatu. I think Zilla's probably
he's
a lock for that too.
Yeah.
Somebody agreed with Eric, which is rare. That
nice. Was Tara.
Of course. No, about Charlotte. Yeah. Charlotte with the rubber duckies.
But Tara, you see what I'm wearing, right?
Oh yeah. Having Naomi beat Stratton was a mistake. It's only a mistake if you're not putting if you're putting the title on Stratton, then she should beat Naomi. But if I think you're gonna know when they're gonna pull the trigger on this Tiffany Stratton girl. It's just right now is not the time. Post WrestleMania, Bayley just won the title. It's not Tiffy time just yet, guys.
Sorry.
Also, do you think that they're setting up Jade and Bianca as future tag team champions?
Oh,
absolutely.
Yes.
They had matching gear on the other night.
Right, yeah, they're matching gear. They've officially declared themselves as a tag team. So they're going to be working together. I mean, what we already know what's going to happen. Tag team titles, Mega Powers split. They wrestle at SummerSlam or WrestleMania.
I'd build it to WrestleMania next year.
Yeah, but who's the guy they're fighting after?
Yeah. Whoever oh gosh, Montez. Yes, there we go. I think that'll happen, but I also
bitches explode. Okay.
But the mega bitches explode would be such a great headline. Oh my god. Put it on the marquee.
Brilliant.
But I just
that wasn't bad on the fly.
No, that's beautiful.
That's awesome.
Chef's kiss. My girl is sold. Yeah, I mean yeah. My girl is SOL. My girl is shit out of luck. Oh, is Bianca shit out of luck? I mean, she's probably gonna have to lose to her. I don't know, man. I hope they push it out as far as possible because Bianca's great. Bianca's going to be the Ricky Morton of this team. She's going to be getting all the heat, taking all the bumps, and then she's going to tag in Jade to do her 5 moves of doom and end the match. And I hope in the 6 months or 8 months of this tag team partnership, Jade can get a little bit of knowledge off of Bianca, because I still don't. I
was
think Jade
hoping
is
she would have
there.
gotten some knowledge since she wasn't wrestling since
But
the
that's
Royal
what I'm
Rumble.
saying. It looks like
And
she hasn't
still looks
improved.
horrible.
She still looks bad, and like even in like she looks the same now as she did in AEW, and that's just
There's no improvement at all.
No. So hopefully, whatever this is intended
And
to
I
get
like
her to
her.
improve.
And I
Right.
genuinely
Listen,
like
I have
her.
high hopes for her because she has a great look, and like she's a presence. I still think sometimes she comes off like she's reading a script.
Yep.
Because the inflection is on the wrong syllable or whatever, but stuff like that. But man, she's exactly what is, dude. My biggest beef with her in AEW was her entrance music. At the beginning of it, she says, "A storm is coming. A storm. A storm is coming.
It's
A storm is a storm is coming. It should be a storm." Like she just that's one of the
The
things.
Northerners are giving English lessons. Fuck.
I know. We're gonna go get a cup of coffee. I got to get a shirt out of my dresser.
Ball accurate.
It's an industry term.
Let's see. Yeah. So
Mitch, I'm sorry, sweetheart. You have never been on a show where Steve leaves us in charge. It's a roller coaster.
Oh, it's all good. I'm enjoying the ride.
yeah, no, we just kind of bounced because I mean the chat was nice enough to provide us with some topics to speak on. Because I mean, once we talk about Raw and SmackDown, then we're kind of left to our own devices.
I'll give you a topic. Rhode Island, neither a road nor an island. Discuss.
Oh, okay. So I get it now. So yes, no, this makes much more sense. Kevin's girl is Sol Ruka, waiting for her to step up and win. I think she's probably going to win the NXT Women's Championship sooner than later, and then
She's
on the bigger
good.
ring.
She's actually pretty good.
Yeah, this is a name I've heard come up a lot from casual fans and like Twitter fans and stuff of like who they like coming up. So I think she definitely has potential, especially nowadays. I mean, they do have a lot of women's wrestlers, but I still feel like there's a divide. There's like a big gap between the main event women and the mid card women, and like
I see nothing with Lash Legend, for instance. I don't see anything with her at all. But then you got I'm glad Roxanne has the belt again. I'd love Gigi to get a push or something.
Right. Yeah, and Roxanne, she's good. Some of these people are also like, I don't know, there's something to be said about you're good in NXT and maybe that's just where you belong. Like Baron Corbin. Like Baron Corbin should be thanking Dusty Rhodes Ghost every day for NXT being around, because if it wasn't for NXT, he'd be like the biggest deli meat slicer in Wisconsin or something. Like,
yeah. Like I thought when they brought up Apollo Crews to the main roster, that was too quick. He needed more NXT time.
Yeah, and he never something about that never stuck. And I remember when he was on the Indies and he was, oh my God, he was phenomenal. I mean, he still is phenomenal, but it's just like something didn't translate, because it's like I always go back to when Triple H joked that they put Finn Balor in NXT because he needed to learn where the hard camera was. And this was like in the era when they were bringing up guys like Apollo Crews, where they're like, oh, you were big on the Indies doing XYZ kind of high risk stuff, but you have to learn the quote unquote WWE style. And then once they learn the WWE style, it kind of it limits them. It's almost like when yeah. And not that this is a great example because he was never anybody big, but Ernest the Cat Miller, when he first came in, did karate moves in a wrestling ring. And then at one point, he decided to start doing wrestling moves instead of karate moves. And that was when it started being bad. Like the whole idea was he was so good at karate, he could compete with pro wrestlers. He shouldn't have been learning headlocks and shit, and then that was somebody at the power plant or whatever who decided, made that decision. They changed up his wrestling style, and impacted his character.
But they
Nothing-
did bring in James Brown once.
They did, completely unannounced and unpromoted, paid the guy like $500,000 or something stupid, and they never made any money off of it. WCW, ladies and gentlemen.
It's what they're known for.
Uncle Ted's unlimited pocketbook until it ran out in 2001.
That's crazy.
You're talking about that's crazy about the fact of James Brown. This is a company that had David Arquette as a champion.
Oh, I know. That was
just horrendous.
I found out as I was researching stuff for the radio the other day that the debut of Papa Roach's Last Resort was not on their first album, Infestation. It was on the soundtrack for Ready to Rumble, which came out before Papa Roach's album. Take that.
I'm sorry, that's a terrible fucking movie.
It is, but oh man,
the soundtrack is good.
Yeah,
Running with the Devil. Listen, if you can't get any enjoyment out of two dummies getting into a van with a bunch of nuns, and one of them starts playing Running with the Devil on an acoustic guitar, like that's cinema, folks.
Yep.
But yes, so the updates, we'll go through all these comments because I love it. Julia is going to be the next NXT monster. So yeah, Julia.
I didn't know that's how you pronounce her name.
I assume it's Julia. I've never.
It is Julia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
she's huge on the indies.
She's huge in Japan right now. So what happened was she was involved with this promotion called Stardom, and the guy who founded Stardom before.
Stardom is great.
Yeah, Stardom is great. So Rossi Ogawa is the guy that was behind Stardom. Rossi left Stardom a few months ago and has started up his own promotion. They did a press conference a few days ago. It's called Marigold. It's spelled like marigold, like the plant or the flower. So it's Marigold something Dream Star Women's Wrestling, something along those lines, because Japanese wrestling promotions have weird names. But the talent that he signed, he got some Actress Joshi girls from the Actress promotion. He got some girls from Stardom. He got some girls from AJPW or AJW. He's got a couple women from different promotions. He like poached them. And he has Julia announced as a member of his roster. And the scuttlebutt is Rossi and Julia were both at WrestleMania weekend. So this Marigold company might have a little bit of cross promotion with WWE, where WWE will send some of their NXT talent or whatever women's talent over there. And in exchange, Julia is coming in full time to NXT. But I think the initial exchange is that Julia wrestles as a main eventer for this new promotion for like 3 or 4 months. And then whenever that next big NXT event is when she's going to make her full-time debut and also potentially challenge for one of the women's titles.
Yeah, because now there's another participation trophy.
Well, because there's how many women's titles are there in NXT? There's the one that's the main, there's the world title, and then what do they call the mid-card one?
North American.
North American. That's the one. So one of those. I mean, wouldn't it be so funny for Julia to be North American champion? I just feel like she's like, for those of you playing along at home, go look it up. Spelling Giulia. She's half Italian, half Japanese.
Oh,
yeah.
Which is like, and then you see her and you're like, oh, yep, she's half Japanese, half Italian. I mean, she's gorgeous. Probably really likes noodles. I'm Italian. I'm allowed to say that. I'm more Italian than Julia, okay? I'm allowed to say it. We like noodles.
So is your name Vince Berry with an I then instead of a Y?
Listen, I have 4 grandparents. 3 of them were Italian, and one of them last name was Barry. And just because he was the guy on one side, it messed it up. I would have had an Italian name all the way around if it wasn't for Ray right here. That's Ray. I don't know. Oh, I can't. My thing's in the way.
That's what she said. Oh no, that's what she said.
If it wasn't for Ray right here, if it wasn't for Ray, I would have an Italian last name. But here we are.
If it wasn't for my dad, my Puerto Rican name, I would sound more Puerto Rican than Kathleen.
Right? Kathleen's a wild name for somebody as Hispanic as you. But anyway, Ernest, he was the James Brown of professional wrestling. WCW was the same company that had Dennis Rodman, Karl Malone wrestling, and Jay Leno.
And Kevin Green.
Yeah, Kevin. Yeah,
You know, to be fair, Karl Malone was decent.
he wasn't bad. He
wasn't
got it.
horrible.
I loved watching those NBA games leading up to it because every so often,
Him and DDP together, that was fucking.
dude,
over.
I remember watching NBA games and he would score a basket and Karl Malone would on the sly do one of these, and like nobody knew what it was, but he just gave one. You're like, what's happening? And like it was like that was his like tease that he was coming in.
Yeah, I remember Kevin Green was actually was at ringside for the, I'm gonna say it was Bash at the Beach when Elizabeth actually returned to professional wrestling.
Wow, yeah, that would make a lot of sense timeline wise. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. I don't have the soundboard, David. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna do that. Trish Stratus will win the Women's Queen of the Ring and Women's Money in the Bank and cash in on the same night. Now, we've been fantasy booking David's dream return for Trish Stratus since the last time she was on TV, which was like months ago.
SummerSlam.
Yeah. But I think she's one of those legends that if you needed to dust off Trish Stratus to face Bayley or to face Liv Morgan, like if Liv Morgan wins the women's title and people aren't buying it, you bring in, you know, somebody of the status of a Trish or a Lita or a whatever, right? And have Liv win and have the legend talent put her over. Oh man, I love everybody's WCW memories. Horrible Horace Hogan. Now, horrible wasn't his actual nickname. That's just a descriptor of his wrestling ability.
Character or lack thereof.
Poor Horace. I mean, poor Michael Balea. Like that kid was just dealt a, I don't know. He had an okay look. I also feel like having the last name Hogan was like, you're really behind the 8 ball if your last name is Hogan. Like you really have to try to be. That's like having your last name's Flair. Like David. Like Dave. The difference between David Flair and Charlotte Flair.
Yeah,
Tough having a famous father.
I mean, Reed was set to be like, you know, much better than David. Reed was supposed to be the Flair.
I worked with Reed right up until that thing happened. He was on the road with
Guys,
with us.
don't mean to be rude. I didn't want to hang up, but I gotta go. One of my kids is crying their ass off.
Ooh.
So that's why I'm like,
Take care of it, man.
No problem.
Later, Al.
I'll
Vote
talk to
for
you-
Al.
talk to you
everybody.
next week.
Vote
Thank
for
you.
Al.
Well, yeah,
Whatever
vote for Al. Good point.
First
Yes, vote
district,
for Al.
whatever it is.
First District Wardsman of Rowan, New Jersey. I appreciate it.
He's
Thank
still
you.
there.
Bye.
Had to get the plug in, man. Vote for
That's
Al.
twice
All
we
right.
tried to do something after someone signed off and they were still here.
Right. Hey, but no, if you live in Rahway, New Jersey, or you know somebody who does, have them vote for Al. You know, not that our opinion means anything because we're friends with the guy, but I also think like just reading up on what he's been posting on social media about it, he seems very passionate and very serious about it, and he has a platform that I like, and he's, you know, as somebody who has lived in the town his whole life and grew up there and has like a lineage of like, you know, a strong Hispanic family, like that was like his big thing is like, you know, he wants to help his community and he feels like they're not being represented enough. So if that's the case, man, you know, that's somebody that you vote for. So if you're in Rahway or you know somebody that's in Rahway, the election's coming up. First ward, vote for Al. Let's see. Do we have anything else on the docket? I mean, what do you John Moxley beat Naito for the IWGP championship.
Yeah.
He's going to be taking a tour of New Japan. He's taking time off from AEW to do a tour for New Japan. And I imagine the way they get the belt off of him is at Forbidden Door, and he loses to a Japanese talent at Forbidden Door, and they take the title back to Japan.
That sounds about right. Oh,
Yeah.
Actually, stupidly enough, just to get it out of the way because it happened afterwards, we haven't talked about Young Bucks, CM Punk, AEW bullshit.
Oh yeah, because we haven't. I'm glad you brought it up because yeah,
Why I'm wearing this shirt.
I was gonna say he's wearing the shirt. EM.
We
I like that
never
you're-
were able to discuss this except for in the chat because we weren't on after it happened.
Right. Yeah. So basically,
Tony
Most of
Schiavone
this-
knows they're fucked.
Al, Shivani has said that he's acting in that moment. Who knows?
Yeah.
But the
Sure.
the Punk foot. So here's the good, the long and the short of it, because there ends up being a positive outcome to this with the Punk Bucks stuff. They show the video. It is what it is. Punk pretty much told the truth, and the only reason I'm saying pretty much is because he left out the part of we were arguing and then the argument stopped and Jack Perry completely turned away and looked the other way and was actually walking away from the fight, and then I shoved him behind his back. So like that's kind of a bitch move as a 40-year-old guy. But yeah, and then there was the front face lock and a couple missed punches, and they broke it up, and that was c'est la vie. All of, I feel like it was a lot of a kerfuffle. Like even the online discourses, it just seemed like once we see the footage, it's such a nothing moment amongst the larger stuff.
And
Like, it just seems like
go the way that Tony wanted it to go, showing it.
I mean, I just don't think there's. I think no
There
matter
was
what,
no point to it whatsoever.
No.
even showing like it's whatever, it's a wrestling show. I half expected them to show it fucking the week after it happened anyway. Once you heard there was security camera footage, you're like, we got to see it. At this point, does it?
That's the funny thing though, because now they're using it as a storyline angle for FTR. But if you actually, like I said, if you listen to CM Punk's podcast,
Right.
if you listen to everything he said since day one, he even said Samoa Joe came over and told me to break it up and leave it alone. That's
Right,
exactly
right.
what he did.
You did, yeah.
Because Samoa Joe and them have been friends for years, and he was the voice of reason. He said, break it up. And as soon as he
Right.
got over there, Punk's like, okay, fuck this, I'm out of here.
Oh
It
yeah,
did
because you're
not
not. Yeah.
anything for it.
Well, this feels like something the chairman would say, but this is great. I've seen better scraps with two squirrels. Yeah, it was really a nothing. It was like it was like a hockey fight. Thank you, Kevin, for that. It was like a hockey fight. But I also think that they're to get a silver lining out of this, at that same show where Moxley won the IWGP title, they had Jack Perry wrestle, because Jack Perry supposedly has ripped up his AEW contract and is wrestling for New Japan full time. I think
Right.
this is all a way to get Jack Perry back in AEW, because Dynasty is this Saturday or Sunday, and probably the Young Bucks are going to win the ladder match. Probably Jack Perry is going to get involved, and probably Jack Perry is going to be announced as another member of the Elite along with the Young Bucks and Okada. I think all of that's happening, and
And
this
plus, didn't Jack Perry's all his merch sold out?
as soon as that video came out, all of his merch sold out online. And so they had this thing in Chicago, and he comes out with his scapegoat. This is whole thing now. He's the scapegoat. It was his fault, whatever. So he has like a goat head. He's got like a jacket. He's got all this stuff. So he comes out in New Japan to Miseria Kintara, one of Punk's old entrance themes, carrying a Chicago flag. He turns around, drops the flag on the back of his leather jacket. It says, "Cry me a river." He turns to the camera, winks at the camera like he's winking at CM Punk, and then spits on the Chicago flag and goes in and wrestles his match. The crowd goes banana, as Pat Patterson used to say.
I just realized Eric's name says EM Punk.
You just noticed that? And
Nope,
I
yep.
figured out earlier when somebody said, I agree with Eric Michael Friedman, that he actually is EM Punk. Like, it's perfect. He's like,
Not to mention that my great grandfather's real name was Max Friedman.
the
Yes, I
original,
know.
the original
original.
MJF.
I
Hell
think
yeah.
there's so many names on this group. So say Steve didn't notice for 8 minutes last week about my picture, and I didn't notice that until now.
You took you hour 15.
That was hilarious. I once had my name as Andradel the Giant.
That's a good one.
Wait,
That's a real
what's
good
your
one.
name in my phone, Eric?
Oh, I forgot.
Eric the
Red?
no.
Oh no.
I forgot.
Does it start
What
with a
if
J?
It does, because the kids originally didn't call him Uncle Eric; they called him Uncle Jewish. Because I just don't know where they got it from.
Oy vey.
So So in my phone it says Uncle Eric the Jew.
This is when the shows go off the rails. We get over an hour and Steve's not here. Things get silly. Oh my goodness.
The
But
best
he's
is
the
when-
one that noticed it in my phone. I'm like, hang on, let me find it. And he goes, do you have me under Uncle Eric the Jew?
well,
That's
and
great.
then there was the time I fell asleep and Alex says to
Mom, I think Uncle Eric died.
Y'all are
I
still
think
on
Uncle
the air?
Eric is dead.
Yeah, we're going off the air in a minute. Though.
Yeah, we'll go off the air shortly. But yeah, basically Jack Perry got out there, got a good response. Some part of the crowd chanted CM Punk. Part of the crowd chanted anti-CM Punk chants. Some of the crowd chanted, "You got choked out." Some of the crowd chanted, "No, you didn't." During that point of the match where they were doing the Punk and the chokeout chants, Jack Perry immediately grabbed a front face lock and guillotine choked Shota Umino in the ring. Like that was his. And I'm like, and then as soon as he did the front face, they did like a recreation of the Punk fight basically, and the crowd went wild for it. So I have to hope, because this was a gamble. The immediate social media response wasn't great leading up to it on Wednesday and then afterward on Wednesday. But ultimately, you know, you gotta hope that if they gamble like this and they play footage like that's real life stuff, and you're trying to involve it in an angle, you got to hope they have a direction plan. You got to hope they got a roadmap for this, that they knew what they were doing. We'll
Autumn
see.
wants to say goodnight really quick to you guys.
Peace out. I'm going back to crying.
I'm going back to crying.
Oh man, yeah, losing 8-0, as they say in a soccer match, is
No,
not
it's-
great.
No, it's not great. Especially
Well-
when you're the only one doing work.
Were you the goalie?
No, I play right defensive back, whatever.
Okay.
And basically, I was guarding this girl named Michaela on JF, me and her are mutual friends or whatever. And basically, we're talking, whatever, and then like the ball coming. So like I headed the ball, and they had a perfect opportunity to score. Perfect opportunity. What do? Watch their ball go by.
Here's another reel where you could see the mom eyes.
It was just so fun, but also like, I don't, so Autumn, here's my suggestion to you. If there's like a really fat girl that doesn't play any sports right now, if you can convince her to be the goalie, then you just get two.
Our goalie's really good. I love our goalie.
I was thinking, because then you could get like two of the wing players. No, but hear me out. You get a big, because you lost if you lose 8-0, there's a strategy. You need a strategy. You get a big fat girl, and then you have two of the wing players roll her in front of the goal, like Pong.
Hey, do I know what's crazy? I was doing better as goalie. Just saying.
Well, I was thinking you should be. I don't know much about soccer.
You were goalie too. It was only 7-0.
Oh, it was only 7. Sorry, 1 goal less.
So, but I think I don't know much about soccer, but you being taller than most of the girls, I feel like you would be an ideal goalie.
I'm quitting. I told them if they put me back in goal, I'm quitting.
I'm quitting listening to this. Goodbye.
Okay, time.
Yeah, that was your Virginia high school soccer update for everybody hanging on here. Oh my God!
Liberty Christian Academy. They're playing out 10-0.
Wow.
Oh, you know, I wanted to acknowledge the Indie Hall of Fame.
Thank you. You did the same.
What's great is that it's Roman Reigns, but it's also Sabu. Go ahead.
Oh, well, yeah, there was the Sabu thing. But in the class, like, for one, Mercedes Martinez, which is awesome, and the Briscoes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
100%.
Oh,
very,
and
very much
Briscoe is the Ring of Honor World Champion now.
Yes.
Yes.
Eddie Kingston lost the championship. I mean, that was a hell of a match too.
Great match.
Man, I got a whole, as somebody who really enjoys having an alternative and not having to just watch Raw or SmackDown, I gotta hold out hope, man, because I feel like I enjoy AEW. I like where they're going, man. This pay-per-view seems like it's going to be big business. It seems like Swerve's going to win the world title. You got a ladder match between FDR and the Bucks. You got Bryan Danielson against Will Ospreay. Like, I just feel like that whole card
That's
is set up.
Card.
Yeah.
Okada's facing Pac for the Continental Crown Championship. That's going to be I think it's going to be a real good pay-per-view, and I hope it's going to be a nice way to reset. If the idea of like they showed the CM Punk footage and all that, and now it's like out there and now it's gone and whatever. If Dynasty this weekend is a reset and everybody, you get new champions established and you have new storylines going, there we go.
I mean, perhaps now that WrestleMania is over, AEW will get more in the forefront again.
That's the other thing is that the news
that's a
cycle
big
is
factor
dominated
also.
by,
Yeah.
and you also get a lot of people who don't necessarily always. WrestleMania season draws out a lot of casual fans or even like fans who. Weird fans who will be like, oh, well, no matter what happens, AEW sucks because WrestleMania was awesome. And that's like fine or whatever, but it's not the general consensus. It's
I don't
just
think night one was awesome.
Right. I thought night one was pretty mid, as the kids say. Briscoe in the Hall, both Briscoes absolutely well deserved. And Tony's help has I have a suggestion. And I know we are 14 viewers strong across all platforms right now, but I believe if we can put some stuff out in the universe. I am very willing, Anthony Khan, whatever your real name is, I will help you with this. I can work for you. I don't know if you've listened to this podcast. You probably haven't, but a lot of times I have ideas about finishes and storylines and the way that things should go. And I think I could very much help you steer that company into the future. And I know it's not going to happen, but I believe in positive energy. So I'm going to put it out there that one day I'm going to be able to get Tony Khan as a guest on my radio show, and then I will beg him for a fucking job. And then,
Well,
And what kind of tattoo will you get then?
I would get Tony Khan sitting behind Scarface's desk.
But you know what? To be fair, we on the show have put out a lot of stuff that has come to the forefront. So
we've got our finger on the pulse, my man. I think we've watched enough wrestling to kind of suss out where things are going to go. Either you or Sting. Yeah, I think, dude, I'm bummed that Sting is not involved with wrestling right now. I feel like Sting would be such a good. Here it is. This is it, dude. You've inspired. Who said the Sting Facebook comment? Thank you for that, because here we go. Sting should be the authority figure on television for AEW.
Yes.
He doesn't even have to show up. He can do it from his house. They can send a camera crew there. He probably has a very nice room with a desk and a chair. He can sit behind it like Jack Tunney. And then when he needs to make an appearance, it's important because Sting had to show up in person to manage something. Otherwise, then it takes the onus off having Tony Khan on TV with his he's like autistic and nervous, and like I get it. Like this, I'm the same. I would be the same way. But like Tony is an analytics guy. He's a behind the scenes guy.
Yeah,
he shouldn't be cutting promos out there. If they had Sting just take over as
Sting
the on-screen
Linda McMahon treatment, where Linda was her appearances were very far few between.
Right, and when she showed up, you knew shit had to go down.
All of a sudden,
you were having beer for breakfast.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you hear the WrestleMania 10.
I love that. Do you know how badly, after seeing Triple H and Stephanie come out, that I wanted that WrestleMania 10 theme to hit, just to see sweet, sweet zombie Linda waltz her way out onto the WrestleMania stage one more time.
She was there.
I know she was backstage. I just needed that music. I need that music. Let's see. Facts on Sting. Dude, yeah, absolutely. I think Sting would be it would be such an easy thing for them to want
to Sting every once in a while.
Right. And you bust that out when things are going a little sideways. Yeah, dude, there's a lot that they could do, because you could even say he's not Sting. Steve Borden is the director of authority or whatever. And then when Sting actually shows up, you're like, oh shit, it's not Steve. This is Sting. And you get the bit. Yeah. Oh gosh.
Gregory Helms reporting.
How do we get this
on the Hurricane?
How do we get this up the ladder to Tony Khan? I realistically don't know how we get this up the ladder to Tony Khan. But come on now. It makes the most sense out of anything I could think of, because it keeps Sting involved. Do you know Sting took like 150 to 200,000 viewers from AEW when he retired.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's like when WCW went off air. Raw's ratings didn't double. They weren't getting 15s. They got less because half the audience tuned out. They just actively tuned out from wrestling when WCW went off the air. It was crazy. And there was remnants of that. There's a Sting bump. There's a visible bump when Sting is involved with wrestling because he's a legend. Let's see. Regarding Linda, I wanted there to be the ultimate. I think that really would have been the ultimate FU to Vince, would have been putting Linda out there.
It was just as bad though seeing Stephanie out there. That had to sting. That no pun intended.
Yeah.
But that
No, I
had to
know.
sting Vince big time.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
He sold so much more of his shares come that Monday morning, like right after Mania.
A lot of them. And he's almost fully divested.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a clause in his employment contract that if he terminates with TKO, there is a 1 year waiting period before he can start a new promotion or anything like that.
What's
Not
Vince McMahon
Nobody's
doing
going to
in
go
AEW?
work for him anymore though after this.
Oh, who would work for? Yeah. Well, that's the
only
other
person
thing.
that would probably go work for him would be Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker.
That's true.
Because
But
they're
I
like
also-
the last two Vince McMahon guys.
Yeah, I don't know what I feel like a lot of this is he's pulling out so he has liquid funds to Sting is not going to have his blood drained like Taker. Yeah.
Very good, Kevin.
Every 6 months, Taker decides he needs a new Harley Davidson and shows up. He's like, I swear this is the last time.
You've done it now.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, but I don't even know.
There's not that many people that are going to go if he decided to start from the ground up that are
Right.
going
But
to go follow Vince McMahon.
some of
Especially
this,
when you have someone like Paul Heyman
right.
saying that he is truly a Paul Levesque guy and
That's
giving that.
Wild. Well, he never liked Vince anyway, I don't think.
But that's what I'm saying. But who's probably one of the most respected people backstage?
It's Paul Heyman, right.
Paul Heyman.
Stephanie, I think it's time to acknowledge you married the wrong Paul.
Yes. Genius.
He's great. He's so great.
And I'm sorry. Randy Orton's reaction when they said you could suck my fucking dick is like the greatest thing.
I mean, Randy Orton is a reaction machine. I love Randy's reactions to everything.
Like I fucking watched that reel like 11 times.
Dude, when he did the splits and did the trumpet thing, I watched that to cheer myself up. But
and the one with BJ with what's his name from what was it? Oh my god, what the hell? Jinder Mahal's guys when he dropped
he dropped on the table and
oh shit.
But
that didn't go well.
So Vince's thing, I think he's pulling out a lot of money for one of two reasons, or maybe both, is A, legal fees, and B, if he has to settle out of court, he's going to need a lot of liquid cash to pay this girl off. Bruce,
speaking of pulling out,
Norm, go jet yourself. Bruce Pritchard would absolutely go with Vince. You already know he would just get all of his cronies. What's his name? Kevin Dunn would just go back with him.
John Laurinaitis.
Yeah, you'd have Funkhauser back. Randy's reaction is priceless.
You're not talking about a whole bunch of great. I mean, well, Bruce Pritchard, I will admit, has done good. Kevin Dunn has been done since the day he was hired. So,
yeah, but just think, there's a reality out there where Vince sells all of his TKO stock, waits a year, and then all of a sudden, there's wrestling on Ben Shapiro's network.
Oh, Christ.
And Steven Crowder is the commentator. You know what I mean?
Turning Point USA, is that called?
Yes, it would be. And
bringing Candace Owens.
It would be Candace
Well,
Owens.
she's
Would be the
fired, thank God.
Candace Owens would be the ring announcer, and it would be like Jordan Peterson, Steven Crowder would be doing commentary, and Jordan Peterson would be like, "This wrestler needs to clean his room." And
So what? Jim Cornette's going to be played by Alex Jones?
Yep. Oh, that would be Alex Jones. If he decided to dedicate his life to pro wrestling instead of conspiracy theories, would have been up there as one of the greatest wrestling managers of all time.
Yes,
he's just got that energy.
You make Alex Jones.
Yes, I mean
That's probably the only reason I would watch.
Yeah.
Is to hear what that.
I would love if the heel tag team dressed like frogs that were turning gay due to medication in the pond water.
Jewish lasers.
I honestly don't think Tony Khan would accept or Saheed Khan, because he's the money man, would
Mike
accept a
Liddell
buy-in
could
from
be the
Vince.
backstage commentator. Mike Liddell could be doing the interviews.
Oh my God!
You're gonna knock him out so hard, he's gonna need a My Pillow. We're gonna put his head on a My Pillow because he's got a concussion.
You ever see Will Sasso do Alex Jones? It's hilarious.
Oh man, my voice is already shot tonight anyway. I've been overdoing it, but here's the thing, folks. We're on InfoWars tonight. I gotta let you know. We have buckets for sale. There's 30-pound bucket of mac and cheese. It will survive the apocalypse. It's dehydrated mac and cheese. You just have to add holy water to it. You add the holy water because the holy water is the only thing that's going to survive the nuclear winter. Up next on
the
InfoWars.
Bible and the USA Bible.
That's right. We've given everybody in the Bible American names. Job is now Bob. It's just easier. Why'd we call him Job in the first place? It's not pronounced Job. It's Job. Everybody knows it's Job. Why'd we say Job? This is what you get when Steve leaves, guys. This is what you get when Steve leaves. Hi, Eddie.
Can we cut this at 10 o'clock and forget this part?
I know. Just let him tell Steve to tune out. We had technical problems. The stream says it lasted until
we
10:30.
didn't know. We thought we were off the air.
Do you know? Honest to God, we're gaining viewers as this goes on. We're gaining viewers. What is happening?
I'm still upset over the whole Scott D'Amore TNA thing.
That's a tragedy.
Yeah,
that's a guy.
He was doing so much good for that company.
You talk about a guy that Tony Khan could hire immediately. It's Scott D'Amore, 100%. That guy, Roll Report After Dark. That's how we wrote. Yeah, once it's after dark, apparently we get more people tuning in. Oh, some of them dropped off. Maybe the Alex Jones impression was too much for him.
We'll do a Jesse Ventura one next time.
Shit, Eddie's listening.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, what's up, Eddie?
Eddie, how do you feel about your
here's
tribal
the thing.
chief?
How do you feel about the tribal chief, man? He did the dude. One of the guys that I go to, I do comedy at one of these bars, and one of the managers is a big Roman Reigns fan. He just comes up to me. I was there on Thursday. He's like, "Man, Sunday was bullshit."
Well, you happen to agree, but
I mean, I just thought. Listen, I knew what the finish was going to be. I just thought, I understand what it was, and it wasn't meant to be a wrestling match. But then, I watch Moxley against Naito, and they wrestle for just the same amount of time, and it's just those two guys in a wrestling match. I'm like, it just aligns more with what it was fun. I got the whole thing. I just was like, whatever.
It was better than night one's main event.
Oh, dude, yeah. Night
Eddie,
one.
I want you to know you're my tribal chief, buddy.
Yes, Eddie, you are the tribal chief.
You are the tribal chief.
I acknowledge you.
I'm still waiting for somebody to use the tribal queef as an insult. I know it's coming. I know it's coming.
Nia Jax.
That's Nia Jax. She comes in as the tribal queef. My hole.
Last week we ended the show.
Oh my God, the replay of my hole over and over and over again.
The my hole loop was hilarious. I do not have the soundboard to do that. I've been thinking about getting one now that Steve has been, I don't want to say abusing it because that's his, he's supposed to be doing it, but also I feel like maybe we got to have dueling soundboards at this point.
Yeah, because someone else has got to get shut up, bitch, besides us.
Right? He tells us to shut up when we have
shut up, bitch. Thank you. Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah,
You're banned. You're banned.
We're banned from Collision, guys. CM Punk banned us from Collision. I got
a top last week to see how I end up in timeout again, man.
Dude, that was funny. Well, we still have something in the pocket.
Shh.
Nothing. But the thing about Jesse Ventura is that he's so close because both Jesse and Mike Lindell are from Minnesota. They both kind of have the same. You don't know what I know. You weren't there. They left the Gulf of Tonkin. They left our boys behind. You don't know what I know. There was thermite paint at 9/11. They had workers paint the walls with thermite paint.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He's another one that just went cuckoo. Amazing.
Was Jesse Ventura ever normal?
Fair enough. I was going to say sometime in the 80s, but maybe not.
No, his ring attire. Because, dude, even his commentary, everything, he has always been that.
I remember he used to wear these bowl cut wigs that were made out of fucking confetti or something.
Yep.
Like they were.
Maybe it's time We put a rest in
He
the
wore
way.
earrings.
Somebody like the Jesse.
That was Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
He
Appreciate
wore
that.
like the earrings like Ozone and Turbo did in Break In. With the big feather.
The Grand Wizard of Wrestling
Yep.
glasses. Yeah.
Glasses.
And you notice I had to say Grand Wizard of Wrestling because you can't just say Grand Wizard anymore.
And he's
People
got
will
the freaking and the leopard print pants.
Yeah, we're talking about Ernie Roth.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta get the lion thing king up. Oh wow. Oh, were you? Yeah.
That was good too.
I know, like, dude. We should add that to the board. Just not me doing. I'll just have the actual like Broadway cast to do it or something. But whenever we talk about the Pride, we'll have to play that. Not Ozone and Turbo. Yeah, Jesse's outfits. Do you remember what was it? There was one of the shows he commentated with Tony Schiavone, so it must have been like between 89 and 91. And he was just wearing.
Don't knock my Ozone and Turbo, okay? Adolfo Shabaduca Quinones was the GOAT.
Do you remember when Jesse was just wearing Mickey Mouse ears for no reason? He was just there with Mickey Mouse ears on.
Yep.
He was a fashion icon, that guy.
The outfit he wore when it was the what is it? The bodybuilder segment between Rick Rude and the Ultimate Warrior.
Oh yeah. And that was a hell of a segment too. See, that's the kind of non-wrestling stuff I love. I wish they would bring stuff like that back, or like somebody doing so many reps on a bench press thing and the other guy goes to do it, but then they choke him with the bench press. Like, yeah.
And then he sprays the oil and throws the
spraying it in
with
his
the oil,
face.
yeah.
And the flexor bar, like the exercise bar, and you hit him with it.
Which is so funny because now that you think about it, baby oil would not have burned the Ultimate Warrior's face.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Ultimate Warrior also sold like a friggin' goon every time.
Yeah, but you spray in oil, it's not going to blind you.
Yeah, but
it's not Oscar's mist.
He reacted the same way to the baby oil in the face as he did to bleeding from the head with green blood when he got cursed.
Shango.
When Papa Shango cursed him. It's the same. It's the same response to everything. He just screams.
And his reaction, he thought it was appendix bursted or something when he got voodoo cursed or whatever.
Yeah, or also he had the same reaction when he was bitten by all the snakes.
Yeah.
Damn you, Snake Man!
Never trust a snake in the dark.
Facts. Ozone is the GOAT. Yeah, Ozone's the GOAT.
I was so upset when he died, man. When Ozone died, that killed me.
Do we have anything else we need to cover, or have we said it all for this week?
Depends. How many viewers do we have left still?
14.
Damn.
I know y'all are just sticking with it. I should let me see.
Oh God, what is he doing?
Since everybody's so cool tonight.
Vince, you gonna bring back the lights?
No, I'm just.
Oh, the party lights. Yeah.
I just needed to put. I wanted to put this up. If you want to throw us a couple.
Yeah, but
throw us a couple shekels.
Go to the comment above, though, please, from Norm, just above you, because he posted it.
Hey, Norm.
No,
you guys in the show are awesome. Well, thank you. Most shows only go back as far as John Cena and the Ruthless Aggression era of this conversation. Yeah, man, we're
some of us were born when
back.
this stuff happened, so you know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and that's why when we discuss stuff like this, it's so interesting to see like new fans, like Mitch, who was on earlier. He only started watching like last year or so.
Yeah,
and even just like the comments of younger people, like even when I go online and I see them say, "Oh, this is so like WCW," or like, "Oh, this is like what Vince Russo would have booked," I'm like, "You don't even.
You have no idea. There's no Viagra on a pole match right now, sweetheart."
Pinata. Like they had a pinata on a pole match, and it was all Mexican wrestlers. And you know who won the match? Dr. Death, Steve Williams, wearing a Hawaiian shirt. Why? Who knows?
We also had Judy Bagwell on.
I was just going to say match. Judy Bagwell. Yep.
Not just Judy Bagwell on a forklift. Judy Bagwell, WCW World Tag Team Champion.
Yep.
Yeah. With Rick Steiner.
With Rick Steiner.
And then there
really
was the
And it was
then there
funny
was
is
the Rick-
we tuned in to watch this shit every week. It was like Jerry Springer wrestling.
then we got to witness Rick Steiner having an argument with fucking Chucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they did that again with his son, which was great a couple of years ago, to cross promote the new
The
Chucky.
Halloween Havoc thing.
Yeah, the new
Yeah.
Chucky show that was on Sci-Fi. They like had him talk
It's
about it.
still on. It's on season 4 right now. Thank
It's
you very
still
much.
going on.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Season
thought-
4 starts tomorrow night, baby.
And
I
there's
kind of
rumors
figured that was
about Freddy versus Chucky movie.
Ooh.
Freddy versus Chucky. That'd
I
be
don't know how I
interesting.
feel about that because
don't know
Freddy
how you-
versus Jason was kind of weird.
Yeah, that kind of fell flat.
Well, no,
Right.
the reason is because Freddy versus Jason happened after Jason X.
Right. It was just too far. If they did Freddy versus Jason in like
Jason.
1993,
Yes.
like in the middle of their peak runs.
Right.
Yes, we did watch religiously. We definitely watched
We did.
religiously. I can't put myself to watch through 3 hours of Raw in a row anymore. What do you know, I'm an old man. I got priorities.
You're an old man. You haven't even hit 40 yet. Shut the fuck up.
Not yet. But that's the thing about watching religiously, and even like the Judy. I mean, I remember Judy Bagwell. I didn't hate Judy Bagwell. Looking back on it, it's absolutely ridiculous. But for a mom that they just said go out there and like cut a promo on your son, and she'd be like, "You're not invited to Thanksgiving dinner no more." You tell him.
You know what?
She kicked him out of Thanksgiving dinner.
Good or bad, we stuck with it till the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And believe me, there was a lot of bad in the end, but we stuck with it.
Mm. Oh, this is weird. All right, so somebody actually knows about this Freddie and Jason, or Freddie and Chucky thing. DJ Qualls is going to play Freddie. DJ Qualls.
I don't see that. I'm sorry.
DJ Qualls is the little guy that looks like they threw him in a clothes dryer, who plays like the skinny guy in every 2000s movie. Like
yeah.
he's so,
How can
yeah.
you have Freddy and it not be Robert Englund? I'm sorry.
Well, they tried it with that guy who was actually pretty good, but I think it just wasn't. I don't think Robert. I think
Was it a Skarsgård or something?
no, it was the guy who played Rorschach.
Oh,
Oh
And
God.
he played Freddy once in a movie,
It-
but it didn't work.
Welcome back, Cotter.
What?
that's
Did you
Rorschach.
say Horseshack?
No, no, not Ron Palillo.
Ooh, Mr.
Ooh,
Canada.
No, it wasn't Ron Palillo. It was the guy that played Rorschach in that superhero movie,
Oh, Rorschach. I swear it sounded
Yeah.
like you said Horseshack.
The Watchmen.
Wait a minute.
Rorschach.
You're from
no,
Welcome back, Cotter. What the fuck did you just say?
Rorschach from The Watchmen played Freddy, but they decided because it was like 2014 or something, and they thought computer technology was so great that instead of doing Freddy special effects makeup, they made Freddy a CGI face tracking monster. Like it looked like smoothed out PlayStation 3 graphics. It was terrible.
I had an idea for speaking of Welcome Back, Cotter. I once had an idea to turn Carlito into Epstein from Welcome Back, Cotter, and he tried to get out of matches with the doctor's note. It would sign
Carlito's mother.
Epstein's doctor.
Well, they did that for Scott Steiner. Scott didn't want to wrestle Rick Steiner a couple times, and he brought out the Rasta doctor who did like a witch doctor thing. Wow, Ron Palillo. Yeah, who's going to pull out a Ron Palillo reference on their wrestling podcast? Only us.
I also like when Randy Orton was referencing IUD.
Yo, that was a weird time. They're like, here's a real medical condition. Let's make fun of it. Happy Iraq War, everybody. Let's talk about.
I mean, they gave Goldust the Tourette's for a while.
This one I'm going to need a clarification on, David. O.J. Simpson should be back in the trial against Michael Jordan. Are you saying that now that he's dead, Michael Jordan should somehow be whooping O.J. Simpson's ass in the afterlife? Because Michael Jordan's still alive and O.J.'s dead.
Are you talking about Michael Jackson?
Should be back in the trial. Oh, yes. I think maybe you're right. Okay. Okay, yes. That makes more sense to be on trial with Michael Jackson. Like if both of them. Yes. Okay. I'm starting to listen. I'm translating live here from David into English. No, it's a joke, David. I love you. I'm so glad you're.
Say Michael Jackson.
We're just busting balls.
more.
Yeah, because
fun.
I think OJ Simpson's whole thing should be reevaluated now that everybody in the situation has passed away. Everything should become public record and be allowed to be scrutinized now that everything's all said and done. DJ Qualls seems way too short to play Freddy. Norm, you're absolutely
agree.
right. Robert Englund is the best Freddy. I mean, that's the problem. He established that role so well and played it about 20 friggin' times. It's just him. He's the reason the character worked is because there was so much of Robert Englund in the character that once you take him out of it, it's just somebody. They either have to go in a completely different direction or somebody's doing a Robert Englund impression.
Right.
You know, and despite it being a
Amen.
horror movie, some of those were my favorite comedies.
Oh, I mean, those movies were designed. You can't tell me that Dream Warrior isn't meant to be a comedy. That movie's funny as hell.
Yep.
Welcome to prime time, bitch. You know, I mean, that's funny. Everything. Freddy is an objectively funny character, and occasionally Jason, because he's silent, can be really hilarious.
Oh my God, Jason Takes Manhattan when he's walking in the water and all you see is the machete, like it's a dorsal fin.
Or the guy, what's his name? Was it Orlando Jones? And he's sitting on the toilet.
Yes.
Ooh, baby. And he just stabs him through the outhouse. Like, come on. Who doesn't love getting a stab through the outhouse?
Yep.
I'm sure OJ Simpson. I'm
Still
going to
lost
need
then.
more. I'm going to listen now. My duty tonight, as I cook my arroz con gandules, is to look up this Michael Jordan O.J. Simpson thing. I
I'm
imagine
more
there must have
excited
been.
about Norm's comment because he just mentioned one of my faves. But okay.
Yeah. All right. So, have you seen any wrestler who's the Michael Jackson impersonator? Yes.
Yes.
He's great. I forget what his name is right now, but he is, and he's actually like a legitimately good wrestler too. So, eventually,
the what do you call it? DDT.
oh, the moonwalk DDT.
The
Yeah.
moonwalk DDT.
Mhm.
Oh my god.
And it's smooth.
Fucking
He's
phenomenal.
so
Awesome.
he lives in and wrestles out of Las Vegas because he is an actual Michael Jackson impersonator at a casino, like in a dance company or something, or at a
Something
review.
Santana or something.
Yes,
Yes.
Santana Jackson or something like that.
Yeah,
Yes.
he works out of whatchamacallit, the Mirage, I think it is.
Yeah, so and he's great, but he also I think he makes so much money as a not a showgirl because he's not a showgirl, but you know what I mean. He's a stage performer in Las Vegas. He's got a steady gig, and then he wrestles on the side. So he's probably making good money as a dancer and doesn't need to take bumps all the time. And Norm, okay, you've cracked the code. I take it all back. I said nobody could replace Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. Walton Goggins is the man to do the job. He already looks like a burn victim.
But it's my Venus from Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, dude, he's on that new Fallout show. Like, I might watch that Fallout show just for him.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. Not that I don't like Fallout, but like, damn. Let's see here. Higgins looks like an offbeat Krueger.
Yep, exactly.
And
And he was in House of a Thousand Corpses also.
Yes, like it reminds me of that episode of Martin when Michael beat up Martin.
What was the horror movie that DDP was in? The Hills Have Eyes or something?
Devil's
Have Eyes.
Rejects.
I was
Or is it Devil's Reject. Okay.
Yeah, I think he was in Devil's Rejects.
Yeah, it is Devil's Rejects because he was. Yeah, sorry, The Hills Have Eyes. Only the original is good.
Yeah, no need to apologize because you need to tune out for the day. The
I
magic
need
of
to
the
tune out too in a minute, honey.
I know the magic of the internet is that this lives forever now, and if you miss anything, you can go back and rewatch it. So we will end the street. We're vibing here. We still have 14 people sticking with us. I'm so sorry. I'm crazy day. I'm exhausted. I'm gonna say good night. Have a good one. You have a good one. I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you're really feeling generous, you go to streamlabs.com. You kick us a couple shekels to keep the lights on. You don't have to. I'm not asking for it. I'm just saying it's there if you need it.
Take a break. Sorry.
And I just saw that. No, I'm not going to put it up there. It's nice to know that after a while the Twitch bots get to you and try and send you spam. I think that's probably the sign that we should go home, right? Once the Twitch bots trying to start selling you followers and viewers, it's like it's time to pack up. But
if we have job security next week, we'll do it again.
I need
Yeah.
to prove to a robot that I'm not a robot.
You know what? If you've been to any open mics in like the 3 states that I've been in, you hear a lot of jokes about that. It's like I've heard at least 3 or 4 comics, and it's all kind of the same premise. It's like, well, you tell me which one's a stoplight, motherfucker. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
it's all versions of that joke, you know.
Wonder how the comic that has to do, I can't think of his name, Akram or whatever, that he has to do the voiceover thing, how that would work for him.
Oh yeah. Oh, he has to do because he's
Yeah, cerebral palsy. Yeah.
and he can't talk. Yeah.
That would be awesome for him to pull that joke, man, for real.
How do they know I'm not a robot? I talk just like one of them. Yeah, he's like, it's great. I love comics like that. But yeah, guys, we'll tune out for now. I mean, we went 50. We almost went 2 hours tonight. That's wild. Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Let me put the other stuff in. Let me just put at. All right, we're gonna put that in the comments so I can put it on the screen. This is our handle. This is where you follow us at Tag Me a Date on everything: Instagram, Twitter, whatever. TikTok, we're on there. We've got, Facebook. There's a group. There's a Tag Me a Date page you can like. There's a The War Report Facebook group that you can be a part of. There's like 350 people in there, and there's other social media that's at Tag Me a Date, including YouTube. Thanks, guys. Awesome as always. We really appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. At Tag Me a Date is all of our social media. It's also the YouTube. Go to YouTube, hit subscribe, hit the bell. Whatever platform you're on, whether it's Twitch or the live stream on Twitter or Facebook or the live stream on YouTube, wherever you're viewing this live stream right now, wherever you're listening to it, we appreciate you. Stick to that platform if that's where you like, listening to it or consuming it. You don't have to go directly to the YouTube if you don't want. If you prefer Twitch, it's twitch.tv/war report, WARREPORT. But most of our stuff is, like I said, at Tag Me a Date, just like it says on the screen. So you can go to one of those various things and follow us. If you prefer an audio version of the podcast, you can just go to your favorite podcast app, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts. Look up The War Report. Look up Tag Me a Date. It'll be in there. There are 2 wrestling podcasts called The War Report. Our graphic and the description of the podcast will include Tag Me a Date, Steve, Vince, etc. You will know it's our podcast based on that description, so you can get that. Ryan is nice enough to grab that audio and then take it, put it in MP3 form, send it out to the podcast apps within an hour of us going off the air, and then it gets thrown up there, and it just goes right to your device, right to your tablet or your phone, and you can take it with you if you're going to the gym or doing the dishes or whatever it is you need to do throughout your day where you're listening to a podcast. We appreciate you. Eric's phone is dying. He's got to go. I think that just means we're going to call it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, at Tag Me a Date, give us a follow. And if you want to give a donation, there's that. And we'll see you whatever platform, same platform that you're on this week, whether you're listening on YouTube, Facebook, whatever, tune in there. And we'll be back 9 p.m. on Eastern time for another edition of the War Report After Dark. I forget I have to end the stream. That's me doing it. We'll see you next.
I was just going to remind you to do that.
It's like I'm the guy that has to press the button. We'll see you guys later. Have a good one.